Life Center. Welcome to the SLC Sunday Experience. We're so glad you're here. We want you to know your soul is in the right place at the right time.
Just where you are meant to be, whether you're live streaming or you're here with us in person. Everyone is welcome here. Let's sing about it. Here we go.
I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I am meant to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I am meant to be.
In the right place,
I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I am meant to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I am meant to be. Oh my soul is welcome here. Oh my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here.
good morning to those live streaming. You're in the right place at the right time.
I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I am meant to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I am meant to be. Oh my soul is welcome here. You know, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome. Oh, my soul is welcome. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here.
I'm getting the message.
I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. My soul is welcome here. My soul is welcome here.
Your soul, my soul is welcome. My soul,
My soul, my soul.
don't you know that your soul is welcome? Oh, my soul, don't you know my soul is welcome? Your soul, my soul is welcome here now.
My soul is welcome. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome.
You know it's welcome.
Everybody's welcome here.
Good morning, Spiritual Life Center.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Very
good
exuberant
morning.
group this
I
morning.
know. So James and I were just talking. This is Reverend James Trapp. I'm Heather Estay.
Yes, you are.
I know. Even today. Just before we walked up, we were talking about the energy that's in this room whenever you all show up.
Yes.
You know?
You're generating that energy.
And it's not just one or two of you, or it's not just the old timers, it's the new timers, it's the people who've never been here before. There's just an energy that hopefully feeds all of us. I know it feeds me, and I really appreciate you. So it is now our privilege and honor to welcome you. In the name of all that is sacred, all that is holy and good, all that is beautiful, and in the warm and loving spirit of this ministry, Spiritual Life Center. And whether you've been around forever or you're brand new, you make a difference. And you did not show up by accident, but you're here by
Divine appointment.
Now, I just heard a little ringy-ding of somebody's cell phone. I'm not pointing fingers. Confession is good for the soul. However,
Yes.
we'll work on that one. Oh.
There seemed to be a contagion going on there.
Oh. Okay, here's your last opportunity. Unless you're sitting at home in your jammies watching us, will you please turn off your cell phones right now? And by the way, for those of you who don't understand, Ann says, go around and wave and things. Somebody's looking like, huh? What are we doing? There are two little cameras back there. And there are actual live people who watch us every Sunday. So you want to comb the back of your hair?
If you have any.
Just saying. Yeah, if you have it.
Yeah.
Shine it.
Yeah,
it
or
as you go.
shine it, huh? Yeah. All right, we're really getting off course this morning. That's all right. Are you done? Okay. Well, we had a wonderful program on Friday with Haku, and wanted to acknowledge all those that were part of that. I shared this morning how I think Paul is the one that really connected with them to bring them here. Yes. And there were some wonderful folks that gave a sacred service to make it happen. I don't have the names here in front of me, but I just, as I did in the first service, just anyone who was there to help make that happen. They volunteered with the setup or the music or the promotions,
Sponsors.
the posters and all of that stuff, just to stand and we appreciate you and acknowledge you for the work that you've done. And the sponsors for the program. So in consciousness of that Thanksgiving and appreciation, let us appreciate life. Appreciate this day. Appreciate every breath that we take, every in-breath, every out-breath. And know that we have been gifted with something special. And we take this gift of life to carry out our real purpose, no matter what our particular job titles may be. And our purpose is really to let God be God in us. For we're reminded that the Spirit of the living God wants to be known and revealed through and as our life. So we take our time to remember that this is why this vessel is here. So that every thought we have, every word we speak, every action that we take is in alignment with the high prerogative of our spirit and the possibilities of all of us. So collectively, we come together to anchor on earth a world that we see when we are at our highest and our best. And we're always capable of doing this when we choose to focus our attention on what we can be rather than where we may be at any given moment. Because no matter where we are, no matter what we have done, there's something within us that's saying there is more in each and every one of us to be and express and anchor in this world the peace, the love, the joy, the wisdom, and all that is good and perfect. We accept this. We're grateful for it as we go forth, doing our part to anchor and express the all good. Amen. And as we've been doing each week, we've been affirming and speaking aloud the 5 basic principles of unity. In the event that someone says, well, what does unity believe and stand for? You'll be able to say these words, and I invite you to say them together with me. God is absolute good and everywhere present. People are inherently good. Thoughts create our experiences. Prayer and meditation are how we connect with God. We must take action.
So Paula is going to tell us all about the color schemes that you see up on stage and how you can participate.
I am, because several of you over a little period of time have expressed a desire to participate in that or how to know. So what we'd like you to know is that we choose the colors based on the talk always. Everything is always based around the talk. And so I do a little research about the psychological, spiritual, and emotional significance of colors and their vibration, and we choose our platform colors based on that. Many of you would like to participate, and if you would like to, there's 2 ways you can find out about that color. One is on the promotion slide, on the announcement slides that go scrolling in the before the service, and also you can find it on the weekly message. If you're subscribed to that, it will be in there as well. So there you have it.
Thank you, Paula. And so if you don't happen to have that particular color, you can wear the vest of many colors on the day that you don't know. Or you can grab a tablecloth and just throw it over yourself and keep it set.
Put lots of paint paint colors on it or whatever.
Paint colors, your fingernails, whatever you want to do. Or just dress however you the heck want to.
We accept you just as you are.
Now we have a really special event coming up, and Sheri Rain's going to tell us about the World Day of Prayer.
Thank you. This Wednesday is World Day of Prayer, and it will be hosted by the prayer chaplains.
And me.
As well as me.
So Silent Unity receives millions of prayer requests from all around the world for this event. And so I invite you to join us and step into that energy and just feel that consciousness of a million prayers being held around the world. The chaplains have a wonderful program set up for you, and Reverend Dakota will be leading us through meditation, and Reverend Christine will be talking about infinite possibility.
Yes, actually, it's infinite presence and unlimited potential. So I'm really having a great time putting that talk together for us, where we're going to explore what is that infinite presence? How does that, because I like to have a mystical experience of God, which is simply just how does it feel to be connected with Spirit? So we're going to be exploring how infinite presence might look, how it might feel, and how to connect with that. So it'll be a real experiential kind of a talk and experience. So I hope you can all join us on Wednesday. And
More. I will be playing music with the great Michael Rogers. Yeah. And as far as the World Day of Prayer goes, music is the universal language. It really connects to everybody, regardless of we talk and we have all this dialect language. But with music, it transcends that, and it's emotion, and so that makes I'm really excited to be doing this a Wednesday night World Day of Prayer, because we can share some really good music. And in addition to that, I was listening to Michael's songs. I was practicing at home, and they're just like, wow, this is really good, really taps into that spirit. So I'm really looking forward to it.
Thank you.
So with that, today is the last Sunday to get your prayer slips on the prayer tree, and you can add more than one. So we look forward to celebrating with you on Wednesday. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheri.
Thank you, Sheri. And Sheri, where can they bring their prayer slips?
Out to the tree in the courtyard.
Okay, so there's a tree in the courtyard that you'll find probably near the chaplains, and you can bring your prayer request, which is in your bulletin. You can bring it right out there.
And just a reminder that Faith in Action is right upon us, and we're going to be studying a book throughout the community. It's going to start on October the 6th, and participant signups are open up until September the 29th. And you can either sign up online, or you can go to our magnificent table in the courtyard, and people will help you find the right and perfect group for you. So we invite you to be part of that. Also, just a reminder, on September the 22nd, Greg LaVoy is going to be with us. He's going to speak at the 9 and 11 o'clock service, and he's also going to present a workshop entitled Callings in Search of an Authentic Self. And in his presentation, he will explore the psychological, spiritual, and practical processes that we all encounter in listening and responding to those callings that are always there for us. And the central questions we'll tackle together: what wants to emerge in your life right now? What does it ask of us? How do we tell the true call from that other stuff that comes into our minds? He said something else, but that what came to my mind, because I have a lot of other stuff coming up at times. How do we handle resistance to it? What happens when we say no? Nothing good. What happens when we say yes? I'm sure something very good. So he'll be covering that at his workshop on September the 22nd.
And also coming up, we have Renee Jenkins on September 25th, which is a Wednesday. And rather than me yakking about it, why don't we just hear from Renee himself in a minute?
Or
Coming
less.
soon.
Yes, or less.
Music has the ability to shift emotions. You experience that in your car when you're maybe a little down, you turn on the radio and there's a song that you know, and it just instantly changes and transforms the energy, your energy. In that way, the way music transforms your emotional state is the same way you can change your health. it's very healing to play these instruments, because what it requires of me is to be open to the subtleties of vibration that I hear and that I feel. You can tell a person who's angry who walks into the room, or who's perhaps upset. You can call that intuition, but I think that's also, there's a resonance to that. And when I'm playing these instruments, I am focusing and intending to shift that resonance within the person, so that they can feel more whole and more connected to all that is.
So, if you're like me, you kind of dropped a few levels just listening for those 45 seconds. So that Wednesday night's going to be amazing. Please put it on your calendar, September 25th. And then also coming up, we have the gala, October 11th. How many of you have ever been to a gala or any of the events that SLC has done? Good. Okay. So look around. Those of you who have not, the people who raise their hands, just ask them how fun it is. It's never disappointing, and we always say tickets sell out quickly, and they do. We're not kidding you. We're not fibbing about that. So we can all get involved in this. There's some still sponsorship opportunities, and I think those until September 15th, and you get some special benefits, some promotion of you or your business or your nonprofit, whatever it is. Also, we're looking for auction items. We have a live auction, and those are always really fun. The auction items that work are not the stuff that you're trying to get rid of at Goodwill. The auction items that work, that help us raise funds for SLC, are things like experiences. So if you have a timeshare, for instance, you can offer a week from your timeshare. You have a vacation home, or somebody you know has a vacation home that they're willing to donate. Things like that. Also experiences like hosting a dinner with a special theme or some kind of event. All of those things can contribute, and people love them and love to bid on them. As I said, tickets are on sale now. In a couple weeks, we'll be looking for volunteers. And all of our galas are Light the World, meaning there are different ways this community lights the world. And this time, we want to honor our interfaith community and some of the people who've been involved in that and how they've lit up the world for us. So we'll have a special award this year. Yes. So please check on your calendars. Go ahead and buy your tickets now, October 11th.
And at this moment, we want to acknowledge some important people here, our ambassadors, any of our board members, and the prayer chaplains that are here this morning. And the ambassadors are wearing the rainbow ribbons around their necks, and they're here to answer questions that you may have about Spiritual Life Center, get you to the right place, and just to be that hospitable presence that they are, and we thank them for their consciousness that they bring. Our board of trustees are wearing the purple ribbons, and they have their name badges on it, and they help guide, they help shape, they help provide the oversight and direction and strategy for Spiritual Life Center, and really help our operations run so we can provide what we provide here for everyone that comes to the community. And of course, our prayer chaplains, in addition to doing things like our World Day of Prayer, they're holding prayer confidentially for each and every one of us, and they're available to pray with you right after the service. Whether you're going through a challenge or you just want to leverage the joy that you have in your life, they're available in the courtyard to pray with you, and we invite them to share themselves with you in that prayer, and they're wearing the white stoles. So we thank them for their service.
And now, if you're here for the first time, go ahead and get nervous, because in a minute, I'm going to ask you to raise a hand. All right? Yeah, get anxious. No, I'm kidding.
Get excited. Get excited.
Yeah, you are really welcome here. And we really want you to know ways that you can get connected in this community. It's hard going into a new community. So you can find out what we're doing on our website, slcworld.org. You can look in your bulletins for all the different ministries we have, from prayer shawls to the choir. You can also, you'll be given a little card when you raise your hand, and you can fill it out and just check off things that you're interested in. And when you do that, you'll also get James' weekly message, which is very inspirational in the week to get. And then with those cards, you can either drop them in the offering basket, or if you're really smart, you'll take them out to the table in the courtyard, and you'll get a gift when you turn it in.
So if anyone's here for the first time, I just invite you to raise your hand. Any first timers here this morning? Thank you very much for keeping your hands up. And we're going to hand out to you that purple ribbon. And we just invite you to wear that on the side where your heart is, and we can give you that special spiritual life center greeting. So we thank you for your presence. We thank you for the consciousness that you bring and who and what you are, and to come back as often as you so desire, and to look for ways that you can get involved in the community. So with that, I invite folks to not only welcome anyone who's here for the first time, but to welcome each other and just say, you are marvelous. Glad you are here.
Marvelous.
And we invite you to stay standing and join us in singing our group song, Faith is the Key, written by Paula Mandela. Please join us in singing. Living my life from the inside out, moving toward my dreams, turning away all my fears and doubts. A world of lack is not what it seems. It's no secret, there's a universal truth. The life that we are living is the life that we choose. And faith is the key to the kingdom of power within me. I see it, believe it, and now I can achieve it. Love moves in me and transforms every fear into courage. I feel it, I know it, and every day I show it. Yes, I will. I'm giving way to the divine flow, attracting all I need. With grateful heart now for this I know, it's there abundantly. It's no miracle, it's very clear to see. God can do nothing for me that isn't done through me. I know that faith is the key to the kingdom of power within me. I see it, believe it, and now I can achieve it. Love moves in me and transforms every fear into courage. I feel it, I know it, and every day I show it. Faith is the key to the kingdom of power within me. I see it, believe it, and now I can achieve it. Love moves in me and transforms every fear into courage. I feel it, I know it, and every day I show it. Yes, I will. Oh, faith is the key. Faith is the key. Love moves in me. Faith is the key. Faith is the key. Love moves in me. Faith is the key. Please be seated.
So for quite some time now, we've been speaking these words together. Our cue card, those qualities that we determined as a community were keeping us back from living with nothing and no one against us, and from expressing our truly divine, magnificent selves as wonderfully as possible. I was thinking about how we've been speaking these words for quite some time now, and we might have gotten to the place where we're just kind of saying them rote without meaning behind them. So I'm going to encourage us today, I'm going to invite us to speak each of those words and give a little space after each one and take that into your heart and find out how that particular word or phrase applies to you in your life at this time. Please have compassion for us when we are being not enough,
Distrusting, grieving, blaming, powerless,
or fearful, because this is who we have come here to be, inspired, in integrity, joy-filled, compassionate, unstoppable, generous, and transformational.
And now, in preparation for meditation, I invite you to take a nice deep breath and settle into your chair. And if you would allow me to sing this to you first. And I hope that you soak it in, because the truth is that you are the heart. You are the hands. You are the voice of spirit on earth. And who you are, and all you do is truly a blessing to the Please join us in singing. You are the heart, you are the hands, you are the voice of spirit on earth, and who you are, and all you do is a blessing to the world. We are.
As we settle into this time of meditation, let this energy carry you forward. You are the heart and the hands of spirit on earth. Breathe into that. Bring it into the center of your being, relaxing into your highest essence, the presence of God within. As we breathe in peace, we breathe in love. We are whole and complete, free to dream and explore, to connect, supporting each other on our journey, celebrating successes, and honoring those tender, challenging times. Fear not, the fierceness of our spirit will carry us through. We are strong and resilient, trusting in spirit to guide our way, not to do it our way, but to light the way. Loosening our hold on expectations, we see blessings all around us. Enjoy the abundance. Enjoy the challenge, for it is here that we grow. Allow yourself to be pulled in a new direction, to be uncomfortable, to stand on wobbly legs and try something new. It can be painful to let go of things and ideas that have defined us. Sometimes I want to hunker down and hide my vulnerability. Yet when we step forward in the midst of our anger or sorrow, flowing through the failures and regrets, we find our resilience and strength. We find compassion for ourselves and others. It is this connection of the human spirit that joins us, calling us to question our judgments. Looking through God's eyes, beloved Spirit inspires us to follow her lead, for she is patient and kind, all loving, all forgiving, sustaining us through our moments of doubt and loving us when our choices don't support our dreams, carrying us forward even when we don't want to go, especially when we don't want to go. Shining the light of hope, begging us to question what we see and what we think we know. These times call us to see beyond appearances, to come together in peace, extending a hand in love. and accepting the gift that is returned. We were made for these times, called forth to rise above, to look into the heart of another and see the reflection of God. When we can't understand why, this is when we most need to rise. Many spiritual teachings call us to forgive and pray for our enemies. Whether kicking and screaming or with the gentle surrender of grace, it's time to set down the blade of hostility and hold the world in our prayers. In this time of silence, I invite you to settle into the discomfort and trust that your love is meant to be shared. Allow yourself to be challenged and spread love where it needs to flow. These times call for action, the momentum of love. Together in our search for peace, we are held on the wings of faith, living as the hands of God. And so it is.
Such sadness in the voices of my friends, talking about this world and its pain. But we must not lose heart, we cannot give up hope, for long have we journeyed waiting for this day. These times seem so uncertain, so unkind. But this path makes us stronger the higher we climb. We were made for these times. Let us turn our fears into courage, into faith, our greed to generosity. We can give our anger to love's compassion and move this injustice toward peace and unity. These times seem so uncertain, so unkind. But this path makes us stronger the higher we climb. We were made for these times. Didn't we say we are believers? Didn't we ask for grace? We must remember right now we are needed to stand and shine our light in this hour, in this place. These times, these times, these times, these times seem so uncertain, so unkind. But this path makes us stronger the higher we climb. We were made for these times, these times, these times seem so uncertain, so unkind. We shall use our voices, we will not walk blind. We were made for these times. Ooh, these times. Our hearts were made for these times.
Thank you, Second Slice. They just keep on doing it. Thank you. And they're a great reminder that God is good. And all the time. Yeah. It's all good in God's neighborhood. And God's neighborhood is right where you are. Friday when the Cahugo was here, I'd taken a few videos of them. I was showing them to a friend, and I was re-looking at them. And I was reminded, as I was looking at that, not only of their excellence, but also their elegance, and that they were really manifesting, the Spirit of God that's within them. But that Spirit is within everything and everywhere, and everybody. I mean, you can look around the room right now to your neighbor and say, wow, that's a miracle. And so are you. Sometimes we may forget that, but I think whenever we get a sense of awe that is in anything that someone does, or whatever we do, we recognize that something is there because it's in us. We can see it in someone else because we have it. Because we can never see anything that we don't already have. I say that because sometimes we think that we come here to a place like Spiritual Life Center or some other truth place or a workshop, seminar, thinking that we're here to get something. When the truth of the matter is that we already have it. We already have it. We just come here to get reminded of what is already there. I like to say, we're just reminders. Those who speak, the meditation, go to a workshop or a class, they're just to remind us what we already have. And I was reading on something in the book of Isaiah, in the Hebrew Bible, that said, these people I formed from myself that they may show forth my praise. So when we hear those words being spoken through the consciousness of Isaiah, we want to think of those people that he was talking about as us. That we were formed from this presence of God in order to show the qualities of God in our life. And we want to stay in that awareness. So when, as we wake up in the morning, and sometimes, you may have this happen, your surface mind is kind of groggy and grumbling and saying, instead of saying, good morning, God, it's saying, good God, it's morning. Here we go again. The surface mind has reversed all of that goodness. So we want to look in the mirror and say to ourselves, as it said in that statement, you are formed from God to show forth the praise, the power, the love of God in your life. so that we can walk in this world fortified with this kind of awareness to be prepared for these times that Second Slice was singing about. And if we do, we'll find ourselves that we're not getting caught up in the lower vibration, contagious consciousness that sweeps through the human condition, and all the non-essential things that throw us off course. We want to come to the awareness that we have a fire of faith, a fire that burns away all the doubt, all the fear, all the negativity, all the seeming cynicism, the fire that allows us to walk in this world of appearances and all the stuff that's going on in the world and sometimes in our lives, and we're not of it. It's not taking us over. So today I'm talking about real faith and saying that real faith is a contact sport. Now, when I came up with this idea on this particular topic, as I often say, that the staff and Paula says, I need a talk title and what your talk is about, because, they have to start thinking about the music and all of that kind of stuff. And I said, okay, I come up with ideas, and I don't like this. This is boring. And finally, it came through, faith is a contact sport. And I said, okay, that sounds good. Now give me the rest of what that means. I was in ministerial school, and, sometimes, you have to talk, give these talks a lot, so, sometimes you don't, you run out of stuff. Okay, what are you going to say this week? Because you're really saying the same thing in different ways. You listen to anybody speaking these things, they're really saying the same principles over and over again, different angles, different perspectives. And, my instructor said that, well, if you kind of need something, always look for a Bible story. There's lots of them. You can find them to help you, come up with some ideas. So I was reminded of this particular story to give a metaphysical interpretation. I think a month or two ago, we talked about metaphysical interpretations of the Bible, because that's really Unity's and New Thought's unique perspective on, Scripture. We look at it metaphysically, metaphorically, not literally necessarily, but really what's within us. What is it telling us about our life and how we can unfold and so forth? And so there's one story in Matthew in which there's a woman hemorrhaging, and she'd been doing this for 12 years, and she had the belief. And she was saying to herself, if I could only touch the hem of his garment, talking about Jesus' garment. And she heard about this person. She heard about this Christ consciousness. And she had been going through this problem for 12 years, and she went to all kinds of doctors to try to get some help. She had all kinds of healing modalities that she attempted, but nothing seemed to work for her. So she thought to herself, if I could only touch the hem of his garment, I would be healed. And so in that story, there's a particular lesson in faith, being a contact sport. I think one of the reasons I came up with that is that I think today is the beginning of football season, NFL. We'll see how our respective teams do. Locally, it looks like the 49ers. But anyway, she first of all had a belief. She had the belief that she could touch that realm, touch that vibration, she'd be okay. Now, belief is always a starting point for the work that we do, that spiritual work that we do. It's a beginning. It's not everything, but we start there, just believing. And so we hear Jesus saying sometime in some of those scriptures, it is done unto you as you believe. If I were to take everything that we learn and condense it to eight word sentence, it is done unto you as you believe. Yeah, that's 8 words. It is done unto you as you believe. It would come down to that statement. He was talking about the law of mind action that says thoughts held in mind begin to produce after their kind, particularly when they have energy and belief behind them. They begin to express our experience. So whatever we believe consciously or even unconsciously will begin to become our life. And we begin to connect with something called reality. Now, our belief can never change reality. When I talk about reality with a big R, I'm talking about the presence of God, that which is changed, that which is always there, always supporting us. I always said something the other day that, we need to, have a reverse, of paranoia. Just believe that the universe is conspiring for you all the time rather than against you. But anyway, that's that presence that's always there. And we have to have a belief, first of all, that there is something working for us. And so she believed that if she touched that hem, she'd be healed. And ultimately, belief must be turned into deeper understanding that's beyond our human mind. As a matter of fact, if we read those scriptures, those Bible stories, we can change belief to understanding. Not that I'm trying to change the meaning of the Bible or rewrite it, because I'm not an authority. But what we're trying to do is get a better understanding of what belief is. You know, it's impossible to understand something that's not true. You know, you can believe something that's not true. But you never understand something that's not true because it's not true. I mean, you can believe 2 and 2 is 5 all day long, but you'll never understand that 2 and 2 is 5 because it's not true. So it's possible to live in a consciousness or belief or disbelief. Because a lot of people who say they're religious, they've said for years, I believe that I'm made in the image and likeness of God, but very few actually understand what that means. You know, sometimes cynics have disbelieved that, but it does not change the reality of it. So in this story, she said she believed. And so she pushed through the crowd. She pushed through the multitudes, it says. She began to do something. She began to walk in the direction of her belief, take some steps. She pushed through the crowd. And I think we have to push through the crowded minds that we have at times. You know, we might be working on a project and say, oh, that's impossible. We might be doing something, we hear the voices in our head that said it can't be done. You know, we may hear this voice that comes up that says, who do you think you are? You know, who do you think you are? God's expression to the world? Well, yes, that's the truth. You know, I was, a little de-energized, over the weekend because I had some kind of bug running through me. And I don't know what, I ate something and it was it decreased my energy a lot. And so it was carrying over even till this morning. And I was saying to myself, oh my God, I'm getting caught up in this low energy vibration. And I realized that I was believing in something rather than saying, James, just look at where you are. You can lift that energy. You can will yourself to another level. Just focus on that. So I'm feeling a little bit better now just because I've been telling myself that, because sometimes our minds are filled with fear and doubt and cynicism and judgment, unforgiveness and resentment. All things begin crowding in on our minds. And sometimes we have to push through all of that, and particularly other people's thoughts about us. Got to denounce them by believing, first of all, that we are made in the image and likeness of God. That we're made from divine stuff. People don't tell us that enough. We hear information from the advertisers that say, well, there's something missing in you. So you need to buy this. You need to have this. You need to smell like this. Then you will be okay. When in fact, we're already okay. And so somehow she believed. She pushed through the negative thoughts. She pushed through the multitudes. And it led her to do something. It led her to act on her belief. Oftentimes we say we believe something and it just stays as a belief system, but our actions don't go in accord with what we say we believe. We might say, I believe in forgiveness. I believe in love. I believe in God. I believe in generosity. I believe in all that stuff, but sometimes our actions are not congruent with that. I was thinking the other day, just, kind of exposing my own thought process. I don't know if that's safe or not, but I was thinking about something that I thought had done something to me years ago. And it was still, they were occupying space in my mind still. And I said, James, you just need to forgive them. But at that moment, I didn't want to do that. I said, I think I'll just hold on to that resentment. I'll hold on to that judgment. After all, this person is an exception to the rule. You don't forgive that individual. So that just came up. And oftentimes when we have that experience, we may say we believe in God, but we're not expressing it by practicing what we say we believe. So we may be wondering why we're having less than being the radiant, power-filled, creative, loving, happy expressions of this presence. We haven't pushed through the crowd that's thoughts in our minds. We've stopped at the level of just believing rather than expressing it through action. So in that story, she pushed through the crowd. She said, if I reach out and touch the hem of his garment, and in one of the Gospels, Jesus said that someone touched me. I felt the energy. I felt it move through me. And she turned to the woman and said, daughter, it was your faith that made you whole. It was your faith. I didn't do anything. There was something already within you that you activated. You may have thought it was touching me. You know, sometimes we think if we go to a teacher or a workshop or a seminar or read a particular book, that we're going to get something from it. But like I said, all it's doing is manifesting and activating that which we already have. We're discovering the power that is within us. You know, Jesus said that there are a lot of other people who've been touching me in this crowded place. They've been swarming in, they've been listening, they've been rubbing up against me, but your faith made you whole. Your belief made you whole. And in that very hour, she was healed. She made contact with something that gives her everything that she needs, that spiritual presence. She was the original person who had a contact high. Some of you understand what I'm talking about. She touched that realm. Faith is a contact sport. You got to touch that place. That means today that our real work is to contact that supernal realm, that place within us, that presence of God. It means that sometimes we have to examine our own awareness and see where we've gotten off track. Where is our thinking taking us away from connecting with that presence? That's why I think meditation, at least for me, is very important because it allows me to see what's going through my mind. What thoughts am I thinking? Whose thoughts am I thinking? You know, Julia Cameron has that book, The Artist's Way. She talks about what do they call that in the morning? Artist pages or morning pages. Yes, morning pages. Do it in the morning. And so as soon as you wake up, you just write out whatever comes up in your mind. Just flow without any thought. And I used to do that for a while, and I was just amazed about how many crazy thoughts I had in my mind that would hopefully create a clearing so I can get more clear on what the good thoughts are and create that creativity within us. You know, we want to get to that place because that's what we want to do. We want to touch that place through our prayer work, through our meditation, and make that more important than anything. More important than anything. And I thought about this because there was a historical figure, a writer, a philosopher, a spiritual individual, Ralph Waldo Emerson, who, you know, a lot in New Thought read his work. He learned this lesson. You know, during a couple years of his life, he was bedridden. He had tuberculosis, and during that time, it was considered to be a terminal illness. And he was a person that had written a lot of books and gave great lectures about first cause, the presence of God, and all of that. And all of his healing friends around him were challenging him to heal himself. And so he was praying, he was visualizing, he was affirming, and all the dignitaries visited him, giving him advice, which is sometimes the worst vice there is advice. So finally he got fed up. And he realized that he was slipping into wanting to heal his illness more than he wanted to connect to the presence of God. He slipped in there. And we can do that. We say we want something outside of us rather than make that connection first. So when challenged with something, when there's something going on, it seems like it's wonderful, it's beautiful to have the healing, to order our life. All those things are good. But Emerson realized that in that instant, he wanted the healing before and primary to his contact with God. And then he remembered why he was doing the work that he was doing. He remembered it came to him in a blinding insight that what he really should want is God more than anything, that contact more than anything, to touch that garment more than anything. And in that moment he made that contact, his illness began to dissolve. He was healed. Now, it may have taken him months for actually to manifest it in his body. But in the hour that he made that contact, he was made whole. And it was like, I remember a friend of mine who was one of these yoga instructors. And he was, he was really, really, really good. He could bend himself in all kinds of, it hurt my body just to watch him do it. But unfortunately, he did things like exercise and ate well and did all of those things. And he got some, an illness. And he couldn't understand why. How he, who did everything right, got ill. And then he realized he was doing it maybe for the wrong reasons. Because really, you do all that. The yoga is not for some outside thing. The whole thing is to yoke yourself to the presence of God. And then things begin to show up that are the byproducts, that are benefits of it. And once he began to get back into that, once he began to make his own contact, then he began to heal himself. So we're here to remind you that faith is a dynamic contact sport, a dynamic endeavor. And the fire of our faith is to build on daily contact with the Spirit more than anything, more than any heart desire, more than any irrational desire, more than any material thing. We must remind ourselves continually what we really, really, really want is that dynamic contact. This is why we pray. This is why we meditate. This is why we do all of the spiritual work. We want to make that contact. And in that instant, it's like a small candle in a dark room. That small candle casts a big light in a dark room. We have what appears to be, to the surface mind, a small glimmer of a contact. And in that instant, by no process, the wholeness begins to reveal itself because God only knows wholeness and healness and vitality and vigor. And if we make that contact, it begins to express through us. In life, we all go through something at times. The situation may be a legal problem that we may have or a medical challenge that we may have. Maybe there's some thoughts from society that are infiltrating us, creating all kinds of angst and discomfort. We're seeing things in the outer world that are just saying, wow, the world is going to hell in a handbasket. I never understood why they needed handbaskets in hell. Maybe somebody can explain that to me. Sometimes the world is telling us who we're not, what we cannot be, what we cannot have, what we cannot do. Too old, too short, too dark, too light, whatever the case may be. But now we're coming into belief if we could only touch that realm, only touch that all-knowing, all-powerful presence based on the belief it's real, it's substantial, it's eternal. We want to be like that woman who pushed through the crowd, wasn't going to give up, did not care about the prognosis, only concerned about the diagnosis that comes from the presence and the power and the love of God. She didn't care how long she had suffered. She didn't care about her personal history. She didn't care about what they said about her. She pushed through anyway, and she reached out with her consciousness, and she made contact. She thought it was because she touched the hem. But Jesus said, no, it was your faith that made you whole. It is your power within you that happened, that you were able to do that. And she gave her attention to that. So we want to be both like her and Emerson. We want to have the one thing, the power and the presence and the love of God. We want that to inform our prayer work. We want that to inform our meditation work. We want to inform our spiritual fellowship. And the added things will become a part of our life. So once you do that, you may look around and they'll say, oh, you look so good. Oh, you look so successful. That project turned out so well for you. Your body seemed to heal itself. And you say, it happened when I made that contact with that realm. I wanted that one thing, and these other things were added. These are just testimonies. In our life, sometimes we'll have the doubters and the trolls and the impossibility thinkers come into our life. But if we're making contact with that one thing, they cannot even approach you with any kind of negativity. They can't approach you. They cannot come. And the reason they cannot come because you're not distracted by the distractions. Because you didn't want anything else but the presence and the power and the love of God. We're not looking for a shortcut. We want God more than anything else. And we can't be taken away from that when we make that first and foremost. Because you know that's what you want. You know when you do that, your heart is pure and you make that contact, and you can say, oh, it's so good to be alive. It's so wonderful to be awake. It's magnificent to walk in that fire of faith and to contact that presence. And then everything begins to work together for our good, individually and collectively. This is who we are. This is why we are here. Make that contact. So it is. Jesus. And next week, I think we have Reverend Janae is going to be speaking, and she's going to talk about live your love. And so she is a living embodiment of love itself, so I know that's going to be a wonderful experience. And at this time, we have an opportunity to get in the flow of that divine giving. And if you've given any other way by mail or EFTs, know that you're in that principle of God that says, you give, it shall come back to you in so many different ways. But also you're supporting this community that's preparing for those who are on their way, supporting those that are here to have their lives transformed from glory to greater glory. So with that, let us say our offertory blessing together. Divine love, as me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, and all that I circulate. Thank you, God.
Peace for all seasons, love every moment, light shines wherever we are, faith in the darkness, hope in the silence. I said joy, sweet joy in our hearts. Oh, yeah. Every day is a choice to show some kindness. We all are a part of one family, so connected, our hearts and spirits. I reach out for you, you reach out to me. Peace for all seasons, love every moment, light shines wherever we are. Faith in the darkness, hope in the silence, and joy in our hearts. Now is the time to come together, to count our blessings, 'cause we are grateful. We lift our voices in one chorus. My brothers, my sisters, let's celebrate now. Peace for all seasons, love every moment, and light shines wherever we are. Faith in the darkness, about some love too. Let's celebrate peace. Let's celebrate peace. Let's celebrate love. Let's celebrate love. Let's celebrate light that shines, shine, shine, shine. Let's celebrate faith. Let's celebrate faith. Let's celebrate hope. Let's celebrate hope. Let's celebrate joy, sweet joy in our heart. Peaceful season, love every moment, and light shines wherever we are. Faith in the darkness, hope in the silence, and joy, joy in our hearts. Oh, peaceful season, love every moment, and light shines wherever we are. Faith in the darkness, hope in the silence, and joy, joy in our hearts. I'm talking about joy, joy in our hearts, and joy, 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 joy in our so much joy, so much faith, so much peace. Let's celebrate peace. Let's celebrate peace. Let's celebrate love. Let's celebrate love. Let's celebrate light. Let's celebrate that shines, shine, shine, shine. Let's celebrate faith. Let's celebrate faith. Let's celebrate hope. Let's celebrate hope. Let's celebrate joy, sweet joy in our Shine your light, shine your light, shine your light, shine your light, shine your light. Shine your light, shine your light, shine your light, shine your light, shine your light. Shine your light, shine your light, shine your light, shine your light, shine your light. Shine your light, shine your light, shine your light, shine your light, shine your light.
Second slide is bringing the joy, but really igniting the joy that is already within us. Thank you so much. We bless the tithes and offerings, knowing how to bless the givers, receivers, this community, and beyond as we go forth, making faith a contact sport in our own life to activate that power that is within us. And so it is, and so we let it be. Amen. And with that, let's join together and sing our peace song.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as Creator, family
Let us deepen our awareness of this presence as we say